All my video exercises are the result of my studies in neuroscience and in the functioning of the brain. My psychological model VAE asserts that as well as our brain learns in milliseconds how to give us psychological problems, we can unlearn also. If we use his language, I use mental image because I know that they, in our brains, have a close link with the emotions, and that if we use them in a right way, we can direct our emotional reactions. I read for you. The first theme of the series, Lessons of Happiness. Each topic is divided into 3 videos. 1. What is the subject? 2. How does it work in our brains? 3. How to use what you have heard in part 1. I read this first. What is love? Already videos on YouTube. 2. I read for you. How does the love? Point 3. I read for you. How to use. Love, a word used and abused. We find it everywhere, in the natural and supernatural things. It can give energy to the commendable actions. It can be a justification for the actions murkiest. Out of love for humankind, God has sacrificed his Son. The martyrs died for love. The Inquisition tortured. The Crusaders killed. Love can transform into hatred. All is true, just as it is true that when we love, we can never be happy for a long time. We believe that happiness exists and is determined by the way and sway events occur, by the way everyone is each and you control them and mold them. We are sure to know what we want from love, think we know our needs, and then we are disappointed in many of our expectations. Then we find it hard to hold fast to the faith in ourselves, in our abilities, in our resources. Love and hatred contribute to strengthen or weaken our security. At 16 years old we expect the love that is materialized in the fast beats of the heart, in a feeling of apnea, of temporarily not breathing, also remembering provoked only 2 eyes that have bewitched us. We are subjugated by the vibration that evoke a hand that touches lightly. We expect desiring that the sensation is repeated. The love, first time, manifests itself as something so unique and compelling that we will try in vain to find in other times and in other places. It will be the lost paradise where we were hoping to stop ourselves. Love is imagined also transformed from sexuality, which often, for many people, first time is unsatisfying. We talked about it in the 3 video Sexuality, what it is, how does it work, how to use. The sentimental experiences that we will live. Blackberries are likely to be satisfactory, if everyone not to make any comparison with the first love. Only one is the first love, the others. If we appear, they will always lose us. If we think to be incendio, repeat the past emotions, we alter the others' beautiful experiences that there are in the new reports. In any case, it is important never renounce, believe in any form this sentiment appears. Love can always give a reason to live, to hope, to believe that it can drive those who say to love, to be helpful, to listen, to advise, to understand. Because as Leibniz says, love put our happiness in the happiness of another. Unfortunately, often, love leads to suffering, and we usually react in the wrong way. I hope to guide you towards the right way to love. Everyone has their own way of loving. This is a statement that can be discussed, but it has one certainty: the love has many surprising aspects. Cause to when, how, and why was manifested. The birth of love has a time, a context, and a motivation. He, in all places and for various reasons, can turn into hatred. Always and everywhere, the feelings are conditioned by social norms, cultures, beliefs, from the personal capacity to perceive the feelings, to live their emotions. Sentiment is a subjective experience, i.e. internal impressions, mood of feeling that we all tried. Emotions can be defined as reactions, excitations that occur with physiological changes, pounding heart, sweating, trembling. What we feel we can be pleasant or unpleasant. If someone suddenly stimulates in us, at any time and place, in particular state of mind, which has the features that we will explore in the second part. It's something that drives us to say, I love. If the feeling creates an emotion, that is a reaction, excitement, we think, I love passionately. This is one of the many ways to describe love. It can be interesting to read how the love was considered before yesterday. We can add that the love for another person tends to a realization both sexual and sentimental. Love has a basic sex drive, a presence of feelings that seem to be separate from the orgasmic sexuality, a behavior that contain also what is imposed from cultures and rules imposed by the society. Moreover, we say that love is strongly linked to hatred. In all feeling there is a parallel and simultaneous existence of its opposite. This happened for the repute in the same concept of possession. Enters as an essential feature the possibility of losing it. Against those who facilitated this eventuality can go hatred. With love and hate are built skyscrapers that entertain religion, philosophy, physiology, psychology. On the upper floors of the building skyscraper there is love, seen as glory and eternal value. In the lower floors there is the consideration that love can be an efficient weapon in the fight to control, dominate, betray, humiliate, deceive, manipulate, exploit, punish. We can all agree that in the name of the love, many misdeeds sono stati consumed. The story describes abuses and violences perpetrated in the name of Christ by the Holy Inquisition and the Holy Crusades. We know that great sacrifices were made for love of God. Saint Augustine, spurred by spiritual love disembodied, which should stay between body and soul. After a dissolute life, he decided to devote himself to the search for truth. He repudiated the young woman who had brought back Pope from Africa, who had given him a son and loved him passionately. Considering itself an obstacle to the conversion of the beloved, she returned to Africa and shut oneself up in a convent, forgetting even the maternal love. In this story, the love pushed one person to dominate, betray, humiliate and trample. Also we can say that in the name of love we forgive, accept, dominate, submit. Sometimes love is used to not feel guilty of violence. It is also used as an alibi to justify the falsehood. We know that love creates exciting stories, where in his name operated above the barriers of hatred, where death becomes an almost obvious solution. Love, death and hatred have enabled to the history of Verona lovers, Romeo and Juliet, to become the most famous story of all time. Shakespeare wrote it in 1592 to 1596, when he was a young man full of dreams, passion and enthusiasm. The love-passion is poetically considered in combination between love and physical love feeling, that is realized in the pleasure of some organs. The love-passion makes us think of love yesterday, investigated by empiricists, rationalists, pessimists and romance, until you get to Freud, who opened a new window to look sexuality and love today. Today the word eros, love, has been revived in modern philosophical and scientific language to describe aspects or components of sexual activity, and in general the affective life. We leave the field of theory and go to the phenomenology. If a person catches our attention, we consider it attractive. In certain circumstances, if the person's response increases our interest, and we want to see her again fervently, it will become our object of love. We are in love. The feeling is suddenly active. Unexpected. Something that makes us tremble inside is sometimes heard as a magic sign. Someone thinks to the fate, others call it love at first sight. Actions are aroused by details that in another context would not be taken into account. Hardly the thunderbolt is intellectual, because to know someone intellectually takes time and knowledge of the intelligence. The intelligence, in the scales of today's values, is placed after the expressions of sexuality. The repute that we think we are attractive for a person sometimes is enough to make us think that the person is intelligent and sensitive, and we build castles wellness. In us, though, at times, many doubts arise about our being attractive. This makes us implement deleterious behaviors for the construction of the castle of well-being. However, regardless by what we think of ourselves, if the feeling experienced facilitates strong emotions, begins the magical moment, full of thrills, poignant thoughts, expectations, sleepless nights. Feelings also stimulated only by the memory of the hands to touch, the whispered words or silences, from the desire for a hug, a kiss. I know we will experience the physiological changes that are often mistakenly called soul movement. We speak of this in the booklet on sexuality. In reality, this is the physical basis of sexual love. That is an impulsive basis that can be tempered by the feeling love tenderness. This is topic of the second part. With the magic moment start the gentle pain of love that we call falling in love. Falling in love, always having a limited time, is the antechamber, soap bubble of the love. It is the state of sweet stupidity that makes us happy to few minutes of hellish hours. This particular has been in itself a great danger, will be remembered as a happy state, which, compared with the loves that follow, will cancel the difference that each falling in love can give. It facilitated, in certain cases, the mixed feelings among which there is hatred. Falling in love is alive and well appreciated if the suffering that it gives you is amplified. Any change can become suffering, fear, resentment, which in addition PCS to open access to the feelings of hatred, also increase the desire for revenge. We must not forget that when these negative moods assail us, the way we perceive reality, and also our way of imagining it, are conditioned. It is the famous, I see all black, to the detriment of the objectives we want to reach with our behavior. Those who love tends to possession and cohesion. In the definition of possession an object, there is the possibility of losing it and the resulting anxiety. When we have the perceptions of the moving away, fantasies become a refuge, but become also images of humiliation, imaginary revenge, which serves as a safety valve to an unbearable suffering. I know. Jealousy is presented as a feeling built on the fear of having to share the extraordinary nature of the feelings with things and people of the world. Only after a long time since the end of the story, at times, we realize that we have sensed a non-existent extraordinarily. It was our ideological construction. We can talk about another kind of irresistible pressure, the regret of some moments lived in the past, or the belief that we have lost the most important moment of our lives. Too often we forget what we have enjoyed, and remember only what has made us suffer. Many times the hatred, denial of love, and the pursuit of death, denial of life, arise from an unreachable and disappointing sexual reality, which does not satisfy the desire for safety, durability, and stability. Faced with the impossibility of reaching the possession and the total fusion, the protagonist of The Sorrows of Young Werther destroys himself. This is one of the forms of romantic love. Goethe, called one of the greatest German writers, in his novel expresses the idea that romantic love does not have a chance to survive, and it leads to antisocial behavior, a cancellation with suicide. In love, the creative dimension, imaginary, is often present. Maybe it's the love imagined that's chasing us for life. The creative dimension allows his presence at any moment of our existence. Wolfgang Goethe, at 66 years old, fell in love with Marianne, the young wife of Jacob Wilner, Marianne, that she was ready to ignore any external conventional obstacle. She tried to possess Wolfgang in all its natures, not only as a poet. The writer did not give up. To 83 years, asked the hand of Ulrike von Lebetzau of 19 years. We can think, then, that love is one step away from us forever. Perhaps it would be enough to look around, feeling still capable of falling in love, to find the courage to love without limits of space and time. We can ask, and to ask, is love one of the dangerous game of life, in sway you must to venture? Perhaps the answer is in the certainty that we should not fear any feeling. You have to take risks, and to know how to love everything and always, to maintain harmony between us and the world. The loving impulse knows be content with itself. The inner experience of love is a state of growth of the senses, that, being exacerbated by the experience itself, allows the passage of strong emotions, giving vitality and meaning to life. In video, I read for you love 2. How does it work? You will know how the brain directs our way to love. In I read for you love 3. How to use it. You learn how to direct it.